So this is definitely just going to be a stream thinking out loud about Ironjawz. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, I'm going to try to see who will talk to me about whatever it is about Ironjawz. So let's just post in Discord. Come talk about Ironjawz. We're already live on Twitch now. I don't know. What do you think of this music? Like, I don't know. I still love it. Like, I think I've been using the same music for a long time. And I can't, like, there's definitely tracks that I prefer. Maybe it's time I just cull some of it and replace it. You know? I'm not part of, like, a Ironjawz Facebook group. Is there such a thing? If you Age of Sigmar at work, war clans. I don't know, BC Wargamer Traders, yeah, war clans. It's funny because Cruel Boys definitely have... People love Cruel Boys. They really do. I really like just doing, like, orcs and goblins. I feel like it's a good... Like, it's good to have an identity. Like, I always think it's cool... My gain's a little too high, I think. But my, yeah, like, of just being, like, the green skin. Just being the orc guy. Like Moss, the Mega Boss. Mega Boss boss. It's fun. Oh my god. People are already chatting. Sorry, I'm not paying attention. I'm just clicking on settings and stuff. Let's get that chat going. And I guess we'll probably need, like, Ironjawz. Okay. Did you see the Gen prayers? Like, is that a are you speaking about a generic prayer? Was there like a universal prayer that was released? If so, no, I did not see it. Worst army in the game, 2nd edition running. Let's go, Jaws. Oh, jeez. I haven't had my headphone all day. Crazy. Yo, Sad No Spearhead to get us started on Ironjawz as a beginner. Yeah. Yep. I would say that if where you live allows 3D printing, then get printing. If you live in one of those places or play at one of those places where you need to have GW plastic, wait. When I saw Cruel Buzz, I was like, oh man, can't wait for Ironjawz glow up. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, I have another question to ask you guys too. Sheepy is now following. Thanks for the follow. Currently watching your first impressions video. Yeah. First time chat, trombone, but not first time. Not first time. I put in the Discord. Oh no. In the buy and sell channel? Oh. Hold on. I'm doing so many things. Can you, how are the sound levels, by the way, with the music? And can you hear the fan? Like, is my AC in the background a thing? I'm curious. I'm gonna read the rest of the chat here. One sec, guys. I'm sorry. It always kind of takes me a minute to get it all working and running. So you said you put in the chat, just in the Age of Sigmar channel? Oh, here it is. Sorry, just like right where you think it would be. Okay. This is a thing. This is a thing. Okay, but not all at once. I gotta do one thing at a time. I'll check that out here in a sec. But I got it. It's cool. Thank you so much for pushing that stuff in Discord, Lemur. That's cool. Fan is louder than music? Okay. Yeah, I figured that it was probably really bad. I never even tested it in a video. I didn't want to see. Is that better? I kind of figured it would be. So how do the levels sound now with everything? I guess I could also check my bloody self. They look fine on my end, I would think. Yeah, that's good. Okay, good. I don't know. Okay, so here's my question, okay? Here's my question to y'all. I got some comments on the Ironjawz video that I made this morning that it was too negative. Nobody said anything really over the line or anything, right? Like, it was all like, okay, you know, fair. Like, that's your take. But whenever I get comments like that, I always like to stop and think for a bit and be like, you know, is this comment, like fair? Like, is it a fair comment? Because, like, whenever you say anything to a group of people, there's always going to be some who take it different ways, right? But depending on what you say and about what topics and how you phrase things and so on, there's a growing or decreasing percentage of those people who will, you know, find offense or what have you. So if you say something to 1 million people, you know, you're always going to upset some people, like, because there's 1 million of them. But the question is, like, what percentage and to what degree? So if I say, for example, like, I like peanut butter on my toast, I'm going to offend probably no people, or like 5 people. Anyway, so the critique was that I read on this YouTube thing was that I was too negative, right? And I asked around, or I had a little poll going in Discord, and I think the last time I checked, it was 6 or 5. No, I wasn't. 0. Yes, I was. And a monkey. I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. Like, how do you criticize something that you think is bad, let's say, or underwhelming, like I felt about the Ironjawz rules, without upsetting people that, you know, like, don't want it to be negative? Like, I don't know. Rob thought it was going to be really good. So you mean Rob as in Honest Wargamer? Thought it was going to be really good, but I don't see how moving 9 inches 3 times is going to be replaced by a 1-inch move. Sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding. So the Honest Wargamer, his video's out, I guess. So he thought that Mighty Destroyers was going to be really good. But I don't see how moving 9 inches 3 times by moving 1-inch move. Do you mean a 3-inch move at the very end? Do you mean a 3-inch? So, like, moving 9 Gorgruntas 9 inches each, right? 3 units of Gorgruntas. And instead you get to pick 1 unit instead of 3 and move them 3 inches. There's going to be... Yeah. I think that there's probably going to be ways of, like, having this effect done more than once, I think. Like, we're going to find out. But, like, for example, there was a command trait in 3rd edition that said that you can use Mighty Destroyers even if it's already been used by another whatever, right? So, like, theoretically, you could have a hero that has, or a command trait or something that says, you know, it's not once per turn, but it's twice per turn that you can use Mighty Destroyers. I think its redeeming quality, and maybe what I didn't point out earlier, is that at least it happens in every hero phase. So it happens in your turn and in their turn. So if you go first, right, it's like, okay, I'm going to move my 3 inches off the line, right? And then you do your thing. 3 inches is not a lot, especially if it's just 1 unit. But 3 inches off the line, and then off you go. And then you get to move them another 3 inches before your opponent gets to really do anything, because it'll happen in the hero phase. I wonder if they'll just be full of small little... I want to see the Gorgrunta War Scroll. That's what I really want to see. It's hard to look at this tiny, tiny battle trait section and not be annoyed. Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, like, I think a lot of people, just as soon as they saw it, were immediately disappointed because of just how small it was. You know what I mean? Like, there's just something to be said about just, like, your first visceral looking impression. Like, if I just pull up the, like... Like, just look at the difference in initial presentation in these 2 rule sets. One, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like when you're just looking, like, the first thing you're going to do is just scroll to the bottom of it and then back up to the top of it. And it's like there's all these different colors, right? There's 5 of them, and then you can sort of see on like a second later, like, okay, there's actually 4 of them, and then like the core of the rule, right? And then you're like, okay, you're going to be like, pick one, and then you start reading. It's like, okay, there's lots going on here. I'm going to have all these choices. And you look at this, and you're like, okay, it's a once per game. Okay. And then this Mighty Destroyers, which is just so much less than what it was before. Like, it's hard to not immediately just kind of be like, well, like, I'm starting off from, like, not a bad place, but certainly, like, lower than where I was just before having seen this. I'm already more skeptical. I don't think it's that bad. It just looks bad in a vacuum. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm really hoping for. Right? That's what I'm really hoping for. I'm hoping that there's things that are going to change the stuff, right? And just like, you know, if Ironjawz just has boring core rules, but like really punchy, really alpha, really independent, don't need no man to buff me up kind of units that are just like on 3-up saves and have good wound profiles, you know, like if the Gore Grunta is nothing but just like a solid punchy unit, like I'm happy. If they punch people's faces in, that's what I want with Ironjawz. I want to be able to be like, it's sort of like, I always imagined it sort of like a boxer. It's like, you might not even punch right away. You might fake a punch, and right, just to get your opponent out of position, and then turn 2 is where that punch is coming, right? Or you might, like, you know what I mean? You're like in their head, and you're like, oh, I'm coming this way. Oh, where am I going? Right? And then you're just like, gonna just beat them. That's cool. Like, if that's what the army is, fine. Sign me up. I'll take 2. Zoom out for a second and imagine that our game plan is no longer teleport pigs in charge. We can now completely mess with combat, disengages, block terrain channels, reposition war chanters, reposition unbinds, turn long bomb counter charges into death strikes. Can't be interrupted. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I feel, Trombone, that's exactly sort of what AOS 4 is going for. Right, is exactly what you're describing here and exactly what they've done to Ironjawz. It's like, you can't just like teleport, like do stupid move shenanigans. Like, they're getting rid of that jank, right? And so that's kind of what they're doing with Ironjawz. And I don't know, like, again, you know, I want to see the rest of it. Like, I'm not ready to make any decisions about like if this is good or bad. What I can say is my impressions. Right? That's why it's not how to win with Ironjawz. That's why it's first impressions. It's like, well, actually kind of disappointed. But it could be, you know, that it's amazing and that it's the best army out there in context of the other army and the rest of the War Scrolls and the rule, everything, right? But I like that. Like, it was fun to, like, teleport pigs and do that. Like, it was fun in Big Wa, where that was, like, what you did, you know, like, as a tool. But I get how it leads to play experiences that aren't super fun. It's really punishing to new players. It makes games swinging and they can sort of just end because, you know, like your Ironjawz and you teleported and buffed 6 pigs and then broke through their whatever, and like you're just like all their important stuff is dead already and they haven't even taken a turn yet. Like, that's happened, right? So I don't know. I get it. With complete freedom, no need to measure 12 inches and see you can't do jack. Yeah. Does anyone here play 40k? Generally, if the focus looked bad, it was going to be worse, so maybe that's biased me. The AOS team is infinitely better, though. Yeah, the AOS team writes good rules. And people are genuinely and generally, like, hyped on the new rule set and everything, and I think rightfully so. AOS is way chiller, more chill, than 40k is, just across the board. Like, it's way more hobby, and, I don't know. People are pretty chill playing AOS. So I don't know. Let's think about what Mighty Destroyers can actually be used for. So again, it's every turn. Oh, right, it's every turn. If you're going second, it means that you can move before your opponent gets to move. 1 unit, 3 inches. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's 1 unit, 3 inches. It's like, ooh. Like, ooh, I shuffle a little bit to the left. Crow boys get to pick up a unit and move them. Right? Like... like, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard not to kind of be negative about it, to be honest. Like, when you look at, like, if I'm talking... Like, I just spent, like, the past 3 to 5 minutes talking about the army and how, like, all the things it could be that I would really like and I would be a big fan of and all the different whatever, and how, like, the change is good and how, you know, like, I'm just talking nothing but positive things about my outlook for Ironjawz in 4th edition and at present and whatever. Like, I got nothing but love for my piggy boys. But then you actually look at a rule and it's like, I can't think of anything positive to say. Like, what do you say about Mighty Destroyers? Somebody compared it today to, they said it was Khorne Bloodlust, but I think they meant Murderlust. And let me see, does anybody here play Khorne? I want to show you what I think they meant. Murderlust. Where is it? Here, this thing. Pick one friendly Blades of Khorne unit that is more than 3 inches from all enemy units. That unit can make a D6 move. And it can finish that move within 3 inches of an enemy unit. So it can move into combat. You can split blood tithe points on this reward up to 3 times. So it's 1 blood tithe point, which I guess are relatively easy to get. You can spend blood tithe points on this reward up to 3 times at the end of each hero phase, instead of only once, but you cannot pick the same unit to benefit from this ability once per phase. So it's like, right. So, but, so they are super easy to, so if you kill a unit of 10 dudes, you generate 10 points. Am I correct? Slain units? Okay, so they're not that easy, actually. Not that easy, then. You have to kill a unit to get this. And it's 1 point. Yeah, but I mean, like, you're only running, like, you know, 7 or 8 units apiece, if that. I'd say, like, 12 to 15 is on the table. Like, it's good. Like, I'm not saying it's good. Yeah, just reposition the weird knob. Wouldn't mind if it was changed to 4 inches in Big Y. If I didn't have pigs to teleport, I usually just reposition a weird knob 4 inches. Was happy with that. And it costs a CP. Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's like, if there is like a command trait or something that interacts with this, they should have revealed that too. Anyway, so, okay, and people said that Murderlust was really good. So I can see why the person is comparing it to Ironjawz. But Ironjawz, you get to do it for free, but so far, only 1 unit. But Khorne wouldn't be able to probably do it every turn anyway, so you're looking at about the same power level as Wonderlust, and I can get behind that. Is Wonderlust really good? Like, is Wonderlust like an amazing ruling Khorne? So it can get 6 inches closer to your opponent to countercharge them in their turn? It was so good they nerfed it, and it's still the best one. You're talking about Murderlust, hey? Well, maybe I'm wrong. If Murderlust is really good as it is right now, if Murderlust is a really strong ability in Khorne, then I think that for Ironjawz, it will also be a really strong ability. I don't like... Because aren't Khorne and Ironjawz kind of the same army in their playstyle? This one you can do it up to 3 times. Yeah, it just lets them, from what I remember playing against Khorne, they just creep into combat with you. What's up, Panda? Right, but they just kind of like sneak in on you, and then... And I agree that Ironjawz should be a mid-game army. It's less good now than Unleash Hell is gone. You're saying that Murderlust is less good, or what's less good? Sorry, I lost my own train of thought. So I don't know. The target can move up to 3 inches. I don't know what to say about it. Like, if the first video that I made about dirty tricks, I like fundamentally was wrong about them, you know, and how I felt about them. I changed my mind considerably later, and I think that they're sick, and I think they're going to be tons of fun. The thing that really convinced me is what does it look like looking at these rules from your opponent's perspective? What does it look like? It's like kind of scary. You mean I can just have strike last even 1 in 3 times all the time? Like, oop, like gross. Like, oh, you can just pick some units up and move them around the table. Sort of like you're just going to roll dice. Like, kind of all the time. And move units around the table just sort of all the time. Like, gross. Like, this is a constant repositioning for Bolt Boys. You know, it's like, do you want to move them further away this turn so that they're out of range? Or do you want to move them into range? Like, it's just mobility. Strike last, and then just like some random damage. But then I changed my mind, right? I sort of evolved my thought over time. I changed the way that I looked at it, kinda. But I don't know what to make about this. It's better on Maw Gruntas. So you're saying thinking about Mighty Destroyers on Maw Gruntas? Because you can move into combat, then your movement phase, retreat, and charge to be at 3 momentum. Also, Sneaky Sneakin' shuts your opponent's charges off. It's incredible. No, I know, it's Sneaky Sneakin' is incredible. It is incredible, and it happens like in every hero phase. So it's like it sort of goes off all the time. Like it's crazy. I thought that, like, whatever, Natural Disasters was good. Bcalm Lads is a good spell. Gordrak has a good War Scroll. The War Chanter's, like, kind of weird, I think. We'll have to see what other prayers it can cast, right? Because there might be other prayers that are super sick, too. But the fighting thing is kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think I like it, but we'll talk more about that later, I guess. Yeah, like, that's good. The Brutes are really good. The Maw Grunta. Okay, so you're saying the Maw Grunta. I think you do always take 1 War Chanter. Like, we'll find out. Like, we'll see. Like, we don't know what the spell lore is either, and what the manifestation lore is and stuff. So there might just be, like, way better options. But we'll see. It's a dead War Scroll to take prayers. Yeah. So, like, if you have 10 Brutes 5.9 inches away, I can move into combat 3 inches, and now you're in combat with all the Brutes. Well, you're stuck in with them. You're stuck into combat. So people have to play a 6-inch bubble on everything just in case that they want to keep out of Ironjawz' way. Yes. We need some run-in charges, and we need some 3d6 charges. Like, we need that mobility, because we did not get the mobility from Mighty Destroyers. Okay, so why do people say that you can retreat and charge? Is the retreat carve a path? Is that what you mean? And then it can charge. Oh, okay. If this unit is in combat, it can move a distance up to its move characteristic, which is a lot. Right? 10 inches. So even if... So, like, best case scenario, you're passing over a screen to hit something meaty in the back. Okay? Worst case scenario, you're, like... He can actually move quite far. Like, imagine moving backwards 10 inches and then looking for a 17 or a 7-inch charge. 17 inches, that's moving 17 inches is a lot of moving. Like, it is a lot of moving. Like, moving your full distance and then charging. You can pass through models and the combat range of enemy units, but it cannot end that move in combat. Then pick each enemy unit that this unit passed across during that move to be the target on a 3-up. Or sorry, on a D3 on a 2 afflict mana. So it's the new 2-up D3. This unit gains 2 momentum. And then you charge for 2 more momentum. No, for 1 more momentum. So you are on maximum momentum. If you can give this thing run and charge somehow, right, then you can get to 3 momentum and then just leave it at 3 momentum. And momentum matters a lot. We did the math earlier, but it does matter a lot. You can move over megas. It does let you move over models, yeah. It can pass through models. Yeah, it can pass through models. Yeah, it can pass through models. So it's like you have fly. Right? You have fly, retreat, like you're a bounder or a hopper or whatever, right? Like you just like fly, retreat, no retreat penalty, and on a 2-up it's D3 for every unit that you touch. And then you gain 2 momentum, and then you charge into another unit at maximum momentum. So basically, and you don't have to roll to see if you can do this ability either. You just get to do it. Like this is it's a really strong effect. Right? No roll, you just get to move. It runs everything over. It charges back in at maximum momentum. And then fights. It also combos well with power through. Is power through the counter charge? Well, the real crux of this one is that it's move your move. Right? That it's move 10 inches. So, like, you know, maybe they just took Mighty Destroyers away and they just built it into some War Scrolls. Like, maybe the Gorgruntas and the Big Pigs are all going to have, like, move abilities. Because I love this ability. And it just works with momentum, and it's simple, and your momentum's always going to be up. Like, the pigs are going to be hard to deal with. But power through, that's the counter charge, the charge in their turn. Yeah, I mean... No, at the end of a turn, you can move your full move, and you have to end in combat, I think. I don't know what you're talking about. Is it like a monstrous action on a different war scroll? Anyway, but you were saying that that Mighty Destroyers would work well with this. So how does Mighty Destroyers interact with this big pig then? It's not a run or a charge, so it's not going to generate any of this. You can, I mean, it's just more moving, right? You can move him into combat with something so that you can carve a path, because if this unit is in combat. Power through is a new command ability. Oh, this one hasn't been on my radar. Do you have like a link or something by chance? Does anybody? To whatever. Because I thought there was like all the standard ones, and then there was also like cast a spell in your opponent's turn and charge in your opponent's turn, and shoot in your opponent's turn, which replaced Unleash Hell. And then the regular set from 3rd edition, I guess without the Battle Shock. But I'm wrong. There's an additional one that isn't on that list I just mentioned. Hook me up. Oh yeah, okay. Look at you. Thanks, buddy. What do we got here? All-out attack, all-out defense. At the double for the victory. Cool. Rally, redeploy, covering fire, countercharge, magical intervention, power through. End of any turn, 1 command point. Pick a friendly unit that charge this turn. Okay, so this is if you also countercharge, or if you charge. Right? Then you must pick an enemy unit in combat with it to be the target. The target must have a lower health characteristic than the unit using this ability. Okay, so we're at a high. How high are we? 12, so like kind of standard kind of monster health. Inflict D3 mortal wounds on the target, then the unit using this ability can move a distance up to its move characteristic. It can pass through the end of that move with the combat ranges of enemy units that were in combat with it at the start of the move, but not those of other enemy units. It does not have to end the move in combat. But it has the keyword move. Does that matter? Does that mean like if on your turn you moved? Like, can I use that and carve a path because they both have the move keyword? I don't know. Wish I had the rules so I could look it up, but I don't. And I won't tomorrow either. Different phases? Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, they are different phases. I'm just ignorant of the rule set. There's things that have slipped through my fingers. Been really busy at work. Anyway, not anymore. Let's see. So how does Mighty Destroyers really interact with this in a way? Because I'm sort of like, okay, they move more, and then that other one is a cool move. I don't know. What's Mighty Destroyers like? This is an amazing war scroll. It is. I love this ability. It's great. So you charge, okay, in your phase, let's say. Probably not. Nope. Bcalm Lads is a spell. It will not affect the pig's attacks. Nope. From what I understand, for companion friendly, like units can't affect them. So like spells can't, prayers can't, buffs can't. If it's on their war scroll, it can't. Every time you charge at the end of your turn, you power through. It's just more moving. Another D3 mortals. Okay, so you use power through at the end of a turn, and you end outside of 3. Because it doesn't have to end the move in combat. So you like move away outside of 3. And then on your hero phase, which is right next, either yours or theirs, you Mighty Destroyers into combat. And then you carve a path where you're going to move another 10 inches. And then charge. So you're like leapfrogging down a line. Yeah, that's pretty sick. That's super sick. It really does. And you're dealing like mortal wounds. Oh my god. Tabletop Simulator! Okay, Tabletop Simulator. Come on now, friends. Oh my god, this is why I started doing this video content in the first place, was for other people to tell me what's good. Just like, bring everybody together into your thing, and then they'll be like, oh no, Mas. No. You don't even know, Mas. Jacob Brandon taught me how to play Cruel Boys, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I love the music. Don't you just love the music? Okay. Also, as far as I read, Bcalm Lads will be fine on companions because it's adding a weapon ability. No, but I think that... I mean, I don't even know. You know, like, I don't even know. Somebody linked it to me in Discord just a little bit ago. I think it was Blade. I think I could probably go find it real quick. Okay, companion. This weapon is not affected by abilities used by a friendly unit that affect the attack characteristic or the attack sequence. So, is that ability part of the attack sequence? Like, I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of just over it. Orcs. What do we got? Ironjawz. Got a big pig. It's too contrasty. Which one was it? Ugh. Let's go with like, I don't know, this one. That's fine. Come here, brutes. So this is what I'm hearing you say, Panda. Is that this is what they're capable of doing. Sorry, one sec. I want to do this properly if I'm going to do this. Oh my god. Sorry. I couldn't help it. This is such a cool idea. Sorry, I'm just so excited. Thanks to my patrons. Why? Yeah. Let's check it out. Come on, there's good stuff here. Okay, so somebody in chat, props to Panda, was just telling me about a cool interaction that the big pig can have with just everything. Okay, so check this out. Look at what you can do. So this is one of the command abilities. It's the last command ability. It's a command ability that I have kind of forgotten about, to be honest. I kind of forgot that this even existed. It's called Power Through, so you use it at the end of any turn. Pick a friendly unit that charged this turn to use this ability. So we're thinking about this in context of the Maw Grunter with Hacking Crew. So, yeah, I mean, it can essentially carve a path is like a souped up retreat and charge, right? So even if we're in combat, we're still going to be retreating and charging. In fact, it's in our interest because we're generating momentum points by charging. So essentially, you can think about the big pig having charged, maybe not turn one, but very well turn one if you countercharge them on their turn, for example. Like the big pig is going to be A, B, C, always be charging all of the time. So we can think about this. So this is basically going to happen. Like this is going to be an option for you every turn for the big pig. So pick a friendly unit that charged this turn to use this ability. Then you must pick an enemy unit in combat with it to be the target. The target must have a lower health characteristic than the unit using this ability. So it has to have lower health, and so we are at a nice fat 12 health. And the unit also has to be in combat with it. But again, it's like the fact that we can use our new Mighty Destroyer's ability. Oops, that's Cruel Boys. The fact that we can use our new Mighty Destroyer's ability to like move into combat, and the fact that I dropped my wedding ring. I'm single. Sorry. Yeah, the fact that we're always going to be charging and the fact that we can Mighty Destroyers into combat just means that it's like, well, we're going to be in combat, they're going to have lower health than us, and we already charged. So Power Through was almost a guaranteed thing on big pigs. Okay, so declare, pick a big pig, it might as well say that. Effect, inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. So the combat that you're in combat with, the one that you just had 3 momentum with, that you beat up or whatever, that you carved a path over and dealt another D3 mortal wounds, right? Like, something you've probably already interacted with. Another D3 mortal wounds. Then the unit using this ability can move a distance up to its move characteristic. So that's important because it moves 10 inches, which in AOS 4 is looking like it's going to be like in the faster realm, right? It's not going to be like the super fast, like it's not going to be the fastest of the fast, but it certainly is in that realm of like this unit is fast, right? So it can move its move, which is great. It can pass through and end that move within the combat ranges of enemy units that were in combat with it at the start of the move, but not those of other enemy units it does not have to end a move. So it has to stays leashed to the enemy, right? So it stays leashed. So if I'm going to use Power Through and I'm going to move, I have to stay within 3, and I can't enter within 3 of this unit over here, so I'm sort of tied to it. So if you're kind of squished in, let's say, you're not going to have a lot of move options, right? But if you're sort of on the surface, it'll work out great. Anyway, so imagine this. You know, you are fighting and you charged a unit over here, and that's great. You have all your momentum. You're doing great. Then at the end of the turn, you're going to power through. So you're going to essentially move, right? And you're going to inflict some mortal wounds on these guys. Then the next thing that happens is the hero phase, where because power through says at the end of any turn, and Mighty Destroyers is in any hero phase. So I haven't really worked out all the specifics, right? But it's like you can use this, and then immediately after you can use Mighty Destroyers, no matter whose turn it is, no matter who's going first or second in the round. This is just sort of an option for you at the end of any turn. That's another key piece about why this is so strong. This happens at the end of any turn. Okay? So now we can move 3 more inches using Mighty Destroyers. Okay? Sorry, I also need to... Oops, that's the wrong thing. Oh my god, I haven't even gotten to that stuff yet. There's so much to talk about. Warhammer community. Oops. Ironjawz. So Mighty Destroyers. It can move into combat, and it has to end in combat. So it's just another 3 inches that you get to move. That's not the cool part of the interaction. So then, after you move an additional little 3-inch move, whatever, then you also get to carve a path. So again, this is the retreat and charge. So, yeah, it's nuts. Like it's nuts. Because it's... Oh, it's your movement phase. Okay, so it's a little bit restricted there. It is limited to your movement phase. Anyway, but then you're going to carve a path. You're going to, like, retreat, right? Your move another 10 inches, right? And then you're going to charge. So, you know, let's say we have another unit that's back over here. Right? Here we're looking at a 6-inch charge. Look how far we've come. We slingshotted our way down. We were in combat here, so then we did a 10-inch... carve a path where we go over these guys, right? And we have to end within 3 of their combat and out of 3 of theirs. And then, right? And then at the end of the turn, we're going to power through. We're going to move another 10 inches, and we're going to stay in combat with this unit, right? And not in combat with this unit. So we'd have to be a little bit further back, right? It's like, and then we're also like, there are multiple ways. One costs command points, right? But Mighty Destroyers is kind of free. I doubt this is where Mighty Destroyers is good, by the way. But between power through and carve a path, and Mighty Destroyers is going to help us a little bit, I think, in places. Like, these pigs are going to be moving, and they're always going to be at maximum momentum. That's what's going to happen. So, you know... I said this in my sort of initial video this morning, but I felt like this was underwhelming. But boy, is this big pig scary. Boy, are these things scary. So, you know, I think we're going to have a good time. If you want to check out more of us talking about all this, there's another video being uploaded. It's the whole stream instead of just this little segment. So be sure to check it out. Oh my god, it's going to be so good. Like, subscribe, blah. Crazy interaction. Like, holy hype train, Batman. Like, this gets me excited. Like, god damn it, it's the stupid Cruel Boys thing all over again. It's just like, grumble, grumble, we'll grumble. But to be fair, I think we all agree that it's hard just to look at this battle traits and not kind of be a little bit disappointed. Maw-Crusher can do it too, just without carve, obviously. It does feel bad. 1 battle trait, 3-inch move. Yep. It does. But do you know what feels amazing? Like, but legit, everything else feels really strong. If you make an unmodified charge roll of an 8+ for a friendly non-hero Ironjawz unit, don't forget, Big Pig's going to be charging all the time. But would this affect Companion? This would affect Companion, wouldn't it? But it's not... Ugh. Attack characteristic or attack sequence. I just had it up. Is it on this same sheet? No. Yeah, I did just have it. Oh yeah, here it is. Attack characteristic or the attack sequence. So to say crit mortals, wouldn't that be part of the attack sequence? Okay, so it's not, so it can't attack, it can't change the numbers. But it could like tag on an ability. Is that what you're saying? Look at a weapon profile. Okay. Here's one. Smash and Cunnin. So it says ability. That's what you're saying? That it's not part of the weapon? Everything before that is attack sequence? Okay. So you can't give them like +1 rend or 3 more +1 attacks. But you could give them that ability. Okay, so that's amazing on Big Pigs. Because you're going to be charging all the time. You retreat and charge. Right? So if you have 2 Big Pigs, and you're charging both of them, it's like you're going to get 8 pluses. And plus to the attack characteristic seemed really good to me. If it affects the companions as well, like if it affects all the pigs, well, that's where you're getting all your damage, is from the tusks or whatever it is. Right? You're getting all your damage from this thing because the momentum turns this to 5 damage. So if I'm getting +1 attack on my best attack with 2 rend, feels good. Oh, okay, right. So that makes sense to me with the Honor Guard thing. What do we got here? Seraphon, no thanks. Ina Deepkin, no thanks. And these commands, sure. But can't companion attacks be buffed? Well, not the math. I think, well, like with all-out attack, you can. Right? All-out attack does, because it's not a friendly... Like, I can show you the thing again. It's really bad, but... The battle formation, no attack bonus on to tusks, lol. So you don't get it? Oh, Jesus. Oh, but it's... But it says not affected by the abilities used by a friendly unit. This isn't a friendly unit. This is just a rule. Right? Because it doesn't say this weapon is not affected by, like, anything. It says abilities used by a friendly unit. Like, it's before sort of that piece, right? It says this weapon is not affected by abilities used by a friendly unit that affects blah 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 blah. So you could be a friendly unit affecting not the attack sequence, but if you're not a friendly unit, it doesn't say this unit cannot be affected by abilities that affect the attack characteristic or attack sequence, right? It has a special clause of friendly unit. right? That doesn't have to be there. Uh-oh, cheap views. Oh my god, I want cheap views. Dude, should I click on this link? Probably not. How do I do this? Yeah, I know, I'm just joking. Like, I'm just joking. I'm just trying to, never had to do this before. Oh, and it's just gone. Does that remove the messages too? Should I pin the messages? It's probably good enough. Well, I mean, we need clarification on so many things. But like, I don't know, like, so that's kind of how I read it. It's like you can't buff them with like basically anything that's on a war scroll can't affect them, right? Or it can't affect their attack characteristic or whatever. Like if it's on a war scroll, but if it's in the core book, then it can, because it's not a friendly unit, right? Like that's kind of how I think about it right now, anyway, right? So it's like only and from a design perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense, because then you can like make new units that do new things, and you don't have to worry about crazy interactions, right? It's like the space that a unit's war scroll can influence is smaller, and so it'll prevent things from getting crazy out of control. Because one thing that I've learned about playing Age of Sigmar is that some things just get so out of control, and then there's no other way to play. You know, like playing Gits, it's like, well, you play Squigs. You play at least one double reinforced brick of Squigs with all the things that go with it. Like Snufflers and Marshcrawler and Squig Boss for sure, right? Like there's like a kit. And like that's how you play Squigs. And they're trying to say like, well, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to like flatten everything out so that you can kind of take different things and like mix your army up, and it feels more linear builds, exactly, right? It's not like there's one way to play. And like when I was building armies for Big Wa, it was like I don't even pick my units a lot of the time. It was like the only time I felt like I was list building was the last maybe like 300 points at max. But besides that, it was like, okay, same 5 heroes, and then maybe you mix up the 6th, and then it's like, okay, some hard boys, some pigs, right? They picked for you, exactly, based on like what was strong in interactions, and so they're trying to just like nerf things like that. That's why Mighty Destroyers is so underwhelming, because they're like, we're going to keep it under control, right? We're going to keep it under control. And then we also have these other things that sort of limit the space so that nothing can sort of spill out of control. So we know, for example, that so that's kind of why I'm thinking that this is really good on the Big Pig, because it affects it, because it's not a friendly thing. And if it does, it's really strong, because the Big Pigs are going to be charging all the time, right? They can probably be charging every turn. What's the spell slide? Oh, you want to see the Bcalm lads? Pick a friendly Ironjawz wizard to cast a spell. Yeah. Wholly within 12. Friendly to be the target. 2d6 has a casting value of 6. This is the unlimited spell. But this couldn't affect the pigs because it's a friendly unit effect. Oh no, because it just adds crit to hits. Sorry, what rules? What did you want to see? Oh, this stuff? I haven't gone over this. This is neutral stuff. I haven't even looked at this yet. There's Mystic Shield and Resurrection. I haven't even looked at him yet. I'm saving it. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm trying to stay one topic at a time, I think. Yeah, well, it's not like I'm not going to talk about it. I don't know, unless you guys want to move on. All in favor of check out the new shit. I don't know if it's a modifier. I think it is not a modifier. Well, I will check out everything. It's a matter of just what I check out right now. Like, my plan was to sort of... I mean, I don't need to scroll through the rest of these units. I guess we can check out the next thing. What do I want to check out? This is what I want to do. Natural Disaster is really good on the big pigs if it hits. Basham Lads won't affect the pigs' attacks. So will it matter if it affects the other attacks? You're only throwing 4 dice. No, because we said this does affect. This does affect the pigs. Because it's not affecting the attack sequence or whatever. Like it's this, it's not a, no, it is a friendly unit. Right? But it's not affecting the attack characteristic or the attack sequence. So if this works on big pigs, it works on big pigs. That target's melee weapons have crit to hit. So it means that so it's a lot of dice. Right? 4, 8, 12, 17 exploding 6s, and this will go up because it'll say, for example, if you add one of the attack characteristic of melee attacks and it affects all of them, it's another 4. So we're at 21 now. 21 dice with exploding 6s. No, it's 2 hits. And our wound is better. Right? So we have better wound rolls, so it's like that's good for us. Give me a reinforced gouger unit? No joke. No joke, friend. And it's unlimited, so you could give it to multiple pigs. Right? And they're both going to be charging. Only one can use the they both, no, can they both use once per turn army? So you can't do it with multiple pigs. This is what I mean. This is another way that they're putting a limit on things in the game, right? Once per turn army. So in your whole army, you can use this once per turn. So you can't have like 3 big pigs that all are going to carve a path, and right? So it's like they're capping it, which is okay. Yeah, it's 100% okay. I would rather like have a cool thing, like a big pig that does a cool thing and a cool interaction, and then over here have some Ard boys that do their own different cool thing, and then brutes that do their own cool thing. Like, that sounds great. But that works. Gordrak has +1 attacks or +1 attack while they're wholly within 18 inches. So that's our worst thing, is our attack. So we go to like 3s and 3s, 3s and 3s, 3s and 2s. Right? If we're during the Wa, and then during the Wa... Oh, jeez. Oh, that's not what I wanted. During the Wa, we... I need another one. Warhammer Community. Ironjawz. Whatever. Is it +1 attacks and charge? Right, so +1 attacks and charge. Had one of the attacks characteristic. So it's more dice that are exploding 6s. In addition, so I think we're at 25 dice now with exploding 6s, and +1 to charge, that doesn't matter, and +1 to, yeah, and that's it, +1 attacks, and then +1 to hit from this. And then what was the roll? So we have a War Chanter with Kill and Beat. Add one of the damage characteristic of the target's melee weapons for the rest of the turn. If the Chanter was late plus, you can pick 2 eligible. So this doesn't affect the pigs. Right, Kill a Beat. I wish this was called Violent Fury. It's annoying that it's not. But this does not affect the pigs. But no, seriously, because that's what it does. It gives Violent Fury. Right? And so it's like called the thing they gave +1 to hit, but now it gives +1 damage. Like, it annoys me. Like, I don't care that it makes more sense that it's a War Beat and it's called a Kill a Beat. It should be called Violent Fury Beat. Or Fury Beat or something, not Kill a Beat. Kill a Beat was a thing, and it wasn't this. Brutes probably don't interact with the big pigs at all. Gruntas is the big pigs, ha ha ha. And then, yep, so I mean, it's like, oh, dude. Well, Kill a Beat was trash. But, like, this Grunta is going to get, if the interactions work the way that we think that they work, is going to get absolutely buffed through the roof. It's going to get buffed through the roof, and it's going to be scary and mobile. Did I say scary? And it has a 3-up save. Oof. Also notice it has no degradation. It has no battle damage on it whatsoever. It just is what it is the whole time. Like, it's scary. So yeah. I don't know. I'm on Team Ironjawz. Like, this pig is scary. The brutes are really good. This is underwhelming. Plus to the attack characteristic. Feels good, I think. Before it was, what, charge and rend? I get why they don't want, like, out-of-control rend. Right? One explosive turn. But yeah, but more than that, too. Like, there's... It's going to be, like... What I want is for it to be, like, okay, so, like, the pigs are going to be running up and causing a mess and running around and in and out of combat and super annoying and, like, dealing, like, splash mortal wounds almost with their charging and their repositioning and all this. And then in the back, all the foot heroes are going to... Or the foot... infantry are going to slog up the battlefield, and then when the infantry get there, and then they get that +1 to charge, right? And then that's the turn you call the Wa, is when the rest of the army is engaged. And if it felt that way, where it was like poke, 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 prod at the sides, clear screen, open up a flank, right? Like threaten the sides, and the armies have to like spread out, and then the fist comes up the middle, turn 2, turn 3, and then like bam, everything comes in, wah, like that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, exactly, and follow through. Yep, and you're gonna be like pushing into combat with them, like. I think it's going to be things like Mighty Destroyers is going to feel really good. Not on the pigs. I feel like they have enough movement tricks. I think it's going to feel good on things like Brutes, where you're going to like pile them all into combat. Like, you know how, well, I closed, whatever. But we talked previously about like having like screens and stuff. And, well, if screening is going to be really hard against Brutes, that get to move an additional 3 inches at you. And they can move into combat with you. And they can move into combat with other units. And it can leave combat with a unit as long as it enters into combat with another unit. Like, they'll do, like, weird, like unit swapping and, like, bouncing in and out of combat ranges. It'll be like a finesse rule for the foot heroes, for the foot infantry. Well, they'll do a lot of little things. I think it's going to be a skill testing rule, for sure. And so with calling the Wa, but less so. But I think that this is going to be like a big skill testy rule. Yeah, I'm on Team Ironjawz. I like it. I want to see the rest of it. I'm excited. Oh, it's so scary. Okay, let's look at the next thing. Not this thing. Okay, so here we have... I guess this is out of the rule book. Wizards and priests, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Power level, we already know this. Per phase in any combination. Okay, so... so it means that, like, in your turn, you can, like, let's say you're a wizard 2, you can cast 2 spells. And if your opponent tries to cast a spell, you can try to unbind that spell. For example, a Wizard 2 unit could use 1 spell and 1 banish ability in their commander's hero phase. And then you can unbind 2 spells. So I wonder how... Does anyone know how the interaction works? Like, let's say it's my turn and I cast a spell. And then I cast my second spell. Does my opponent then get a chance to cast their spells because they're going second? But I have no unbinds if they want to spend the command point to cast in my turn. Is that true? No, but my question is, if you're like a 2-cast wizard, if I cast both my spells, and then my opponent casts a spell, I'm out of unbinds. Right, so like if I think my opponent is going to cast a spell in my turn, I have to only cast 1 spell, and then I have to like pass them priority, essentially. I have to like finish, and then they cast a spell, and I have an unbind. Man, that's so good. Like, that is so good. It's so fun and interactive. Like, am I going to hold... It's going to be like bluffs, right? You're going to like bluff spells, and then like it's going to be nuts. And if your opponent, like, let's say that you're going second, and your opponent does that to you where they cast 1 and save 1, and then you don't cast a spell, like, they didn't cast a spell, right? And now they have 2 unbinds because it's the start of your turn. Like, it's nuts. Like, I can't wait. Okay, spells. You do the declare step. Yeah. Casting roll. Yep. Yep. Equal or exceed. Yep. 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 If an unmodified casting roll, 2 double or more rolls of 1. 2 or more rolls of 1. Okay. Miscast. Take 3 mortal wounds. And can't cast any more spells. Okay. If the casting roll equals or exceeds the spell's casting value, move on to the reaction step. So long as the spell is not unbound, then it is successfully cast. Resolve the effect. Okay, whatever. Prayer. Yeah, we know this already, right? Unbinding spells. Okay, so it's really just Mystic Shield that we're interested in. Example spell, Mystic Shield. So 6, Holy Within 12, 6 upward. We knew that already. Right? We knew this already, that it was changed to a 6 upward. Resurrection. Make a chanting roll of d6. So this goes off on a 7. So this needs at least 2 rolls, and on average, you'll get it. Pick a friendly infantry hero that has been slain and return them to the battlefield. Mega boss? Like on foot? Like, the Mega Boss on foot's gonna slap, right? Is this better than the other one? Cast on a 7. See, but this is where I think that the War Chanter might actually be cool. Because it's like, well, you know, if your prayers don't go off, the unit didn't do anything anyway. You know? I feel like that's going to be a thing with priests. Like, let's say that you need 8 to supercharge your prayer. Okay. You know? And it goes off on a 4. Well, you might just roll a 1 and a 2. Like, you might not even get 4. And then it's like, well, your priest hasn't done anything. So at least with the War Chanter, if you find yourself in that situation, you can throw him in and fight him. He actually fights okay. You know? So he can just jump in and then fight. And hopefully get some points. And maybe it'll be enough to, like... Because now, if you're really in the dumps for rolls, you're talking about three rolls now and that additional bonus. Does he get a D3? Is that what it was on the War Chanter? D3 points? If he kills a model? So, like, I kind of like the ability, actually. It'll help make him as a priest more consistent. So either it's like, okay, you know, like, if he rolls super well, then you just keep him out of combat. Like, if your first cast is, like, you roll a 6 or whatever, then you just kind of keep him out of combat. But if your first roll's a 1, then you can, like, kind of throw him in. Right, you can take more of a risk with him because either he's going to, like, hit something and get more points and have this big effect, or he's going to take a bunch of attacks from the opponent, which is, like, damage that didn't go elsewhere. And then you're like, okay, well, like, he did something. Right? He, like, was sort of this little mini thread of his own, and he drew aggro. And, like, while I didn't get my super powerful prayer, he did provide me with some value, as opposed to, like, rolling poorly, and then everything's dead, and you lose. Right? Yeah, kill like a 1-2 health model. Exactly. Like, you can do it. Like, actually getting the points when you're in combat, I think you can do fairly consistently, as long as you're sort of picking the right targets and moving him around, which I don't think will be super difficult to do. He'll want to be in the scrum, in the front line, you know, like, he'll be sort of like behind the unit that's fighting the other, like, battle line unit, right? You'll get the only problem is that you're putting him in the line of fire to get attacked by what he's attacking. Right? Like, there's no reason they couldn't, like, pile over to where he is and then, like, everyone attacks him. And then he's just dead. So you'll have to make that call based on, like, your initial roll. And then how it, like, and it's like, it'll be skill testing. When to sort of put him in and take that risk and when not to. I really like it. I think it's orky. I like it. I'm improving my opinion of the War Chanter. I thought that ability was kind of, like, whatever, but I kind of think it's kind of cool just when you think about priests in a larger context, you know? I gotta make probably... Oh, see, here's another question for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Another half. Exactly. It'll help when you need to get him to that 7. Exactly. It's like you get a D6 plus a D3. You know, it's like, okay, right? Like, you're kind of... Like, he can play ball with that. Like, you can kind of, like, you can make that work. Like, that'll be crazy good sometimes. If you get it twice and you resurrect 2 different foot heroes, like another War Chant or a Mega Boss, it's like, okay. Right? Like, alright. Like, he resurrected 2 heroes in 2 turns. Like, that's really good. And all he had to do was hit things with his Gorkamorka stick. Oh, this isn't in AOS? Why am I reading this then? If this isn't in competitive AOS, I don't care. Once per battle? That's fine. Okay, once per battle is fine. So you're saying that this is not in competitive AOS? Match play, whatever? It looks like it would be. This doesn't look like a rules section that would be specific to, like... Yeah, to me this doesn't look like a Path to Glory thing. No, it's not narrative. Hey, Potato, why did you think it was? Was there, like, something that we're missing? But it's good. I should make a list. I think I should make a video on word chanters. Oh, read Unbind. Okay, each wizard can use the Unbind reaction a number of times per phase equal to their power level. This is an exception to the rule of 1. Make a number roll of 2d6 if the roll exceeds the casting roll spell. To the rule of 1. What's the rule of 1? So you can cast 2 and unbind 2. So if I cast 2 spells in my hero phase, and then in my hero phase my opponent casts a spell, I can unbind it, and I could unbind 2, theoretically. Is that what you're saying? What's the rule of 1? Well, core rule 5.3. Yeah, I mean, could be. Each wizard can only use the Unbind reaction a number of times per phase equal to their power level. Okay. This is an exception to the rule of 1. No, the rule of 1 is going to say that you can only use 1 core ability of its type per phase. That's going to be the rule of 1. That you can only use like 1 move, 1 charge. So this just means that you can unbind. Like you can unbind as many times as your wizard allows you to in a phase. Right? Each wizard can use the unbind reaction number of times equal to their power level, not once, as the rule of 1 says. No, but my question is, like, if I use my 2 spells in my phase, if you cast in my phase, do I have an unbind? Or do I have none? Right? Because, like, can I cast twice and unbind twice in my turn and in your turn? Or, because I thought that if you cast 2 spells in your turn, that you have no more spells left to cast in their turn. And so I don't see why unbinds wouldn't work differently. It's like I cast my 2 spells, I have no more unbinds. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of little... One thing that people, I think, are forgetting about AOS 4 is that it's going to feel a lot more like Magic the Gathering in terms of how priority works. Where it's not like it says at the beginning of the hero phase. Like, one thing that I complained a lot about with AOS coming from Magic was how, like, there wasn't a lot of consensus across the table of, like, what phases you were entering into and the order of operations in a phase. So, for example, people would do things like cast their spells before they pick their battle tactics. But one is clearly at the beginning of the hero phase, and then one is during the hero phase. And there was a lot of sloppiness in terms of, like, did you guys find the same thing? There's just a lot of overlap between the different phases and what's happening and who's going where and who's doing what in what order. Like, it's all just sort of a soup. And so now they are... Yeah, well, that's people being... No, I don't mean being a bit shady. I just sort of mean, like, you go to play with somebody, they don't read properly, they're not super competitive. Like, there's a lot of players that I play with in my gaming community that just, like, they aren't rules lawyers like myself, and they're not super competitively minded like myself. They're more just, like, they play and they think it's fun, and they might be more into the hobby thing. Okay, Path to Glory. Priests on the path to the devout can become so favored by their god that they unlock the powerful resurrection ability. Where is that on this page somewhere? To be honest, I can't even get bogged down in this. Okay, sure. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's maybe it's a match play and a Path to Glory rule. So it's not like, you know, they're mixing up the priority of things happening on purpose. They're just sort of like, game is hard. Right? Well, I try to do that too, but it depends. It depends on the person, it depends on the context, it depends on everything. Right? Like, it's not something that I'll, like, do all the time. If it's something that is, like, illegal, like if it's like a list building thing, like, I'll point it out, but I won't, like, make them change, you know? But I'll be like, well, no, like, the list isn't legal because you've put an enhancement on a unique hero, let's say. Or it's like, you know what I mean? Like, well, no, those points changed like 3 weeks ago, so it's like the list is actually overcosted, or, right? But, no, I don't know. It's hard. Anyway, but the one thing that I think people are gonna have a hard time with is when now that in 4th edition that sloppiness is gone, and it's going to be more like I do all my abilities and then you do all your abilities. So an ability coming before or after your opponent's abilities in all these different possible combinations, all these different abilities, all these different movements, all these different everythings. The fact that mine happened first on my turn and then yours happen is going to change what those abilities actually mean in the context of the game. Like, if I can do something like, if I can do like a move before you get to do your move or after you get to do your move, it's going to feel different depending on how it happens in that sequence. You know? Fourth will be a lot easier to do things in sequence. Absolutely. It absolutely will. But we'll see. Like, it'll be fun. Good times were had by all. What else is going on? Any other questions on your minds? I still can't figure out how to check who's in my actual chat. Oh, it's about time I mosey on down the road to go back and do some family stuff. Could be. I know some people just listen. Like, they paint. Right? They're not super typey. That's why I gotta keep talking the whole time. No problem. I can do that. No problem. Yeah, me too. I'd rather play, but I haven't played a game of AOS now in probably like a couple months, which is a long time. Considering I was like trying to get at least one game in a week. Right? Sometimes more. No leagues, right? I've just been like not playing AOS. Been trying to paint unsuccessfully. But I hear my 4-year-old coming, so I'm gonna bounce. Thanks everybody for hanging out.